and not just understanding theoretically, but understanding experientially. So we must try to experience the Four Noble Truths so that we really achieve the total purification of mind. So what is important is total purification of mind. Now many people said they want to attain Nibbana, right? So, and then they think that Nibbana can be attained in the next life. Is that true? Yeah? Now many people, when they pay homage to the Buddha, when they do some meritorious deeds, say, may we attain Nibbana, and they mean may we attain Nibbana in the next life after death. Yeah, when will you attain Nibbana? Next life, or in this life?
If your practice is hard, then you could achieve it this life.
Right, very good. So you can achieve it in this life if you make effort, huh? And sometimes I say to people that don't worry about Nibbana. Don't worry about attaining or not attaining Nibbana. But you should aim at the purification of mind. Once you achieve the purification of mind, you attain Nibbana. But Nibbana is a faraway thing and it is difficult to understand. But purification of mind, you can relate to yourself, right? Now you think of your mind and you know your mind has the mental defilements. Now think of a time when your mind will be totally free from mental defilements. How happy you will be at that time. Happy means peacefully happy, not like happy enjoying sensual pleasures, but peacefulness. How peaceful you will be, how happy you will be when your mind is totally pure. When your mind is totally pure, then whatever object you experience, you come across, you will not be affected by those objects. You will, even though it is very attractive, you will not be attracted to that object. Even though it is very frightening, you will not be afraid of that object. If it is, even though if it is very, very bad, then you will not be affected negatively by that object. So when your mind is totally pure means become incapable of getting angry, getting attached and so on, you will feel very free at that time. Sometimes you want something very much, and that means you become a slave of that thing, right? You want this thing, or you are attached to thing, to do this thing, and you are under the influence of that thing. Or if you are, if you have too much love for a person, also you are under the influence of that person. Once you can make your mind free from those attachments and so on, you become free. And that freedom from attachment and so on is the aim, is the thing we should aim at when we practice meditation, or whatever we do. We should aim at achieving that total purification of mind. So once our mind becomes totally pure, we will be the happiest persons in the world. No worry, no anxiety, no depression, always peaceful. So we should aim at the total purification of mind when we practice vipassana. And you remember the Buddha saying at the beginning of the Satipatthana Sutta, this is the only way for the purification of beings, Buddha said, right? For the purification of being means for the purification of minds of beings. Buddha did not put Nibbana at the beginning, right? Only later Buddha said for the attainment of Nibbana. But the first thing Buddha said was for the total purification of mind. So that is the thing we should aim at. If we had paramis in the past, accumulated in the past, then we will be able to achieve total purification in this life. If we cannot, at least we will be able to achieve partial purification. So to the extent that our mind is pure, we will experience peacefulness or happiness. So it is for that purpose that we should practice meditation, and also we should aim at achieving the total purification of mind whenever we do some meritorious deed. So the understanding of the Four Noble Truths is really important, and I'm glad that you're interested in the Four Noble Truths and you want to understand. Then I have tried my best to make you understand the Four Noble Truths. But you can read the Visuddhimagga if you want to know more about the Four Noble Truths. And I let you bring the book and read the book deliberately, because I can teach without referring to the book, but I want you to be able to find what you want in the book. Now, once you have gone through at least like this, then later when you pick up the book, then you can read and understand. So do not be satisfied with just what I taught to you, but try to learn more about the Four Noble Truths and others from the books like Visuddhimagga and other books. The more you know, and the better you'll be able to understand and practice. Now, you asked me to talk about Sila also. You remember that?
Yes.
Now, Sila comprises of three middle factors, right? And I told you that Sila is the abstention from the wrongdoing by bodily actions and speech. Now, Sila is the control of bodily actions and speech, and not necessarily of mind. First, you must understand this. The nature of Sila is to control your bodily actions and verbal actions. That means just by having unwholesome thoughts, your Sila is not broken. There are some people who say, even if you kill a living being in your mind, you are breaking the precept. But that is not true. Because Sila concerns with bodily action and verbal action. Only when you kill a being yourself, or you ask another person to kill that living being, do you break that precept. You may have desire, or you may want to kill a living being, but so long as you do not kill it, so long as you do not have another person kill it, you are not breaking the rule, you are not breaking the precept, although your Sila may be not ideally pure, because your mind is now contaminated with hate. But although there is hate in your mind, although you have you want to kill a living being, so long as you do not do it bodily or by asking other people, your Sila is still intact. You are not, you have not broken that precept. So that you must understand. And so only the abstention from bodily wrong bodily actions and wrong verbal actions can be sila. So there are the karma that are done in mind only, and those cannot be sila. Although they may be called wrongdoings, they are wrongdoings in your mind, and so they cannot be sila. In your prayer book, I found abstention of all 10. I think there should be abstention of the first 7 only. You say, I vow that to abstain from killing living beings and so on. They are all right, but I vow to abstain from covetousness and so on. They are not in the domain of sila, although it is good to abstain from covetousness and so on. So they are not to be practiced as sila. And as I said, sila is very important. Purity of sila is important, especially for those who practice meditation, because sila is a very firm foundation on which we build the structure of samadhi and panya. So there are some people who do not emphasize on the purity of sila, and they may say it's okay to do this or that and so on. But when you are practicing meditation, it should your sila should be really pure. Once a person has taken the refuge, he or she becomes a disciple of the Buddha. So in modern terms, we may say he or she becomes a Buddhist. So after taking the refuge, one becomes a disciple of the Buddha. And so one has to keep the moral precepts that are called precepts for devotees, precepts for upasakas. And it is said that a person who has taken refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and become a disciple of the Buddha should keep 5 precepts. That means every Buddhist is expected to keep these 5 precepts. And you already know these 5 precepts. No? You know the 5 precepts? Abstention from killing, abstention from stealing, abstention from sexual misconduct, abstention from lying, abstention from so taking intoxicants, drugs, and so on. So these are the five precepts all Buddhists are expected to keep. And as I said before, only when you, now the first one, killing, only when you kill is this precept broken. Only when you tell a lie is this precept broken, and so on. Just by thinking in your mind, it does not constitute breaking of these sila, although your sila may be not very pure, right? So, and these 5 precepts are not like commandments in Christianity. They are not the commands of Buddha. Buddha taught these based on comparing oneself with others. Once, Buddha went to a place, and Brahmins and many people from that place went to the Buddha. And then they said, Bhante, we are lay people. Now we enjoy, say, pleasures, and we enjoy good food, we use the best of the perfumes and so on, we use the best clothes. So we are lay people, and we have families, we have children, and please teach us something so that while being laymen like this, we can gain happiness. And Buddha taught them Buddha taught them seven precepts. Buddha said, a person who does not want to die, who wants to live. Now, if a person kills another person who wants to live and who does not want to die, that person who is killed will not like it. And if somebody comes to say somebody comes to me and kill me, I don't like it. Since I don't like other people to come and kill me, other people will not like when I go to them and kill them. So considering that, or comparing oneself with others, I should abstain from killing and so on. So Buddha's precepts are based on this, comparing oneself with others, not the commandments put down by the Buddha. So in this way, we abstain from killing. I don't want to be killed, right? You don't want to be killed. So if you don't want to be killed, it is fair that you don't kill others. If you don't want to, if you don't want your properties to be stolen, then you should not take other people's property. So in this way, you compare yourself with others, and you abstain from stealing and so on. So these 5 precepts are based on comparing oneself with others, and in that way lay people should keep these 5 precepts. And there are some conditions where one really knows whether a precept is broken or not. For example, killing, right? So in order to break the precept, then one must know that this is a living being. First, it must be a living being, and then you know that it is a living being. And then you have the intention to kill, and then you make the effort, and the being is killed. So only when these 5 conditions are fulfilled does that rule is broken, and you come to you commit the offense of killing and something like that. So when these 5 are not fulfilled, then the akusala karma is not so great. But when these 5 are fulfilled, then it is called the karma has gone the full course of action. To go to the full course of action means to become a real bad karma. So for a Buddhist, it is important that he or she keep these 5 precepts as long as he or she lives. There's a saying in Burmese, you should keep the 5 precepts as you keep your clothes. So we all Buddhists must try to keep these precepts, but sometimes one may be broken. So when you know it is broken, then you take the precepts again. So in that way you amend the broken precepts. And purity of sila is, again, it is very important, and purity of sila can give you joy, give you happiness. When your sila is pure, you don't blame yourself. So that is one joy you get. You don't feel remorse, because you look back your moral conduct and you see it pure, and so you feel joy at it. When you feel joy, you are happy, and when you are happy, your body also becomes comfortable and peaceful, and so you can get samadhi easily. If your sila is not pure, you cannot get samadhi easily. So this samadhi can lead to the penetrating into the nature of things, and so the importance of the purity of sila cannot be overemphasized. So some people may say, oh, you are overemphasizing the purity of sila, but no, because purity of sila is a very foundation of our practice, and so it should be kept pure as we keep our clothes always. Now there are some people, they want to change here and there, and then they would say, I abstain from killing living beings as much as I can, something like that. Did you take precepts like that? As best I can, or as much as I can? I tell those people, if you take like that, this is not sila. You have already put conditions there, conditions for breaking the precept, because I will do as far as I can. That means I may break it if I want to, right? So I think we should take sila, and we should not take sila that way. Whether you break it or not later, but when you take the sila, it should be just definite. Say, I will not, right? I will abstain from killing living beings, like that. So I will abstain from living beings as much as I can. So that is not sila. But nowadays people want to make sila seem easy to practice, and so they may modify here and there. And also there are some people who say, saying I abstain from killing and so on is negative. We want positive. So they say, I will be compassionate to all beings, instead of saying I abstain from killing. But that is not sila according to our definition. Sila is abstaining from something, abstention from killing, stealing, and so on. You say, I will have compassion for beings, but that is not sila. That is bhavana, the mental culture. So now some people are doing like that. They want to be positive. What I want to ask them is, if you say abstention from killing living being is negative, then killing living being is positive? No. Sometimes people are led astray by these words, right? Say this is negative, this is positive, and as we found out, the very positive state of nibbana is described with negative words. So the words may be negative or positive. We don't need to pay much attention to them. But what we should pay attention to is the reality, whether it is really positive or negative. So sometimes people want to change this and that, and so they change the very nature of sila. So when you take sila, be definite and say just I will refrain from. I take the precept of abstention from killing living beings and stop there, and not say do the best of my ability or something like that. And sometimes you may want to keep more than 5 precepts. How many precepts can you take?
I take 5.
Yeah, 5. But sometimes you want to purify yourself more. You want to get more kusala. How many precepts can you take? 8 precepts. So what are the 8 precepts?
All the 5, and then including you cannot eat after noon, and you cannot plunge your and your bed cannot be like
high and luxurious. Yeah. Do you think you will get more kusala when you take 8 precepts? Probably or definitely. Yeah? You will definitely get more kusala, right? Now, if you understand Abhidhamma, there can be akusala when eating. Attachment is akusala, unwholesome mental state. So when we eat, we may eat with attachment. When the food is good, right, we eat with greed. So there is attachment there. But if you don't eat one meal, you avoid attachment for one meal. Yeah, right? So even when eating, there can be attachment and there can be akusala. Although this akusala may not be very bad, but still it is akusala. So it is better to keep 8 precepts than to keep 5 precepts. But as lay people, you cannot keep 8 precepts always. You have a family, you have to do business and so on, so you cannot take 8 precepts. But from time to time, you can take 8 precepts, like on holidays. So in Buddhist countries, people take 8 precepts on full moon days and new moon days, and on the 8th of the first half and second half of the month. So 4 times a month they keep 8 precepts and so on. And also lay people can keep 10 precepts if they like, but that is much more difficult. 10 precepts is just 8 precepts plus 1 actually, because the 7th is divided into 2, and so add 1 and you get 10 precepts. Then not handling gold, silver and money.
I saw that I saw that in a book, or a monk told me that.
What?
10%.
10 precepts? Yeah, but it is very rare that lay people take 10 precepts. It is almost impossible for them. But when I went to Jamaica, I met one layman, a Burmese. He said when other people took 5 precepts, he took 10 precepts. So he said he took 10 precepts every day, because he had his sons and daughters who would take care of everything for him, and so he's like a monk. So he could take 10 precepts. Otherwise, it is difficult for lay people to keep 10 precepts. So for lay people, the minimum requirement, moral requirement, is 5 precepts. So long as you are pure with regard to 5 precepts, your sila is pure. And when your sila is pure, you can practice meditation anytime. And there is another kind of sila which is called sila with right livelihood as the eighth factor. So in that case, you take the first three, right, and the four, that is abstention from lying, slandering, harsh speech, and vain talk, and then abstaining from wrong livelihood. So these 8 also some people take. So when you take these 8 precepts, you can take food in the afternoon. you may like that, huh? But you should be very careful, right? Lying is okay, and slandering, but harsh speech, sometimes you may be angry and you may say something bad, right? And then vain talk. So you keep silent most of the time, not talk much. Then you can keep these precepts. Okay, what do you want to ask?
A question about killing. You know, like there's 2 questions. One of them is if somebody like has cancer or something, and the person knows that they're gonna die, so sometimes they ask the doctor to give them shots, but in America that's not allowed. But if the doctor gave the person a shot to die because the person wants to die, would the doctor be creating bad karma?
Definitely.
If the person wanted to die?
Yeah, even if the person wants to die, right? If he gives a shot, then he commits the killing. The other person says that desire is one thing and killing is another, right? Killing means making a life shorter than it should have gone normally, right? Suppose a person is going to live, say 80 years. And if somebody makes him live 79 years, something like that, or do something so that his life is shorter, then he commits the killing. So killing is called panatipada in Pali. So panatipada means cutting short the life. Suppose a patient is going to live until midnight today, right? Then the doctor comes and then gives him a shot, and he dies at 11 p.m. So that means he makes his life shorter by 1 hour, and so he commits killing. And in Buddhism, there is no such thing as mercy killing, because at the moment of killing, it is always accompanied by ill will, by a kind of dosa. You cannot kill anything with pleasure, with sometimes you may be laughing and you may kill an ant, but at the very moment of killing, there is that ill will in your mind, a kind of dosa in your mind, because you want it to be killed. Now you kill it. So you cannot kill with somanasa or something, pleasurable feeling. Although you may feel pleasure after or before the real act of killing, or after the real act of killing, you may have pleasure. But at the very moment of killing, there is displeasure. So in Buddhism, there is no such thing as mercy killing.
And the second question is, if somebody is like on a machine, and that person is only alive because of the machine, and finally they pull the plug out. If you pull the plug out, will you be creating bad karma for doing that?
That is a question that is difficult to answer. But people say that that person is like a vegetable, right? He does not know or whatever. But according to the definition given in Abhidhamma, he is still a living being. he has not died yet, although his brain may not be functioning, right? Although what you call that instrument may show no brain action, right? But even though there may be no brain action, or there is said to be no brain action, there is still consciousness in him. Consciousness as we understood in Abhidhamma. So long as consciousness is there, he is a living being. So cutting short his life, however much suffering there is for him, is killing. So that is why it is very, very difficult. People find with difficult situation when their parents are put on the machine and they have to say, please take it off. So many people ask me, and I don't want to give answers to them.
How about, like they said, the person is, if there was no machine, the person would actually already be dead, but then the person's only like put alive because there's a machine to pump his heart, so the blood would circulate around his body, but actually he's dead already. They're just using the machine to keep him up. And if you take the plug out, would you still be creating bad karma? Because without the machine, that person would be dead.
Yes, so long as, right? So long as that person is living and you cut short his life, then there is akusala. Right? And actually, a dead person cannot be revived. Dead means clinically dead, right? Clinically dead may not be really dead, because the doctors they don't detect the heartbeat or pulse, and then they say he is dead or something like that. Sometimes people are not really dead, right? So that is why they use clinically dead. That means declared by the doctor to be dead. But sometimes they don't die. So it is very, very difficult to know exactly whether a person is really dead or not. Only after, say, the body becomes cold and then stiff, then you say he is dead. Otherwise, so long as he's on the machine, it's very difficult.
Last time there was a person in Japan, and he was declared clinically dead, and they were going to have a funeral for him. He was at home, and they were ready to have a funeral. In the middle of the funeral, he wakes up because he was poisoned by this poisonous Japanese fish, and so it shut down his body. So the doctor did all the checkup, and he had no pulse. So they even made this warrant that he's dead, and they put him in a special bed, and then they called the monks over to do the prayer. And in the middle, he wakes up, and he doesn't know what's happening, and then so he's like alive again.
So he was not dead really.
No. So luckily they didn't burn him there.
Yeah. Okay, you remember the Four Noble Truths now? Can you tell another person about the Four Noble Truths?
Yes.
Very good. You know, it is not easy even for Myanmar people to understand the Four Noble Truths like you do now.
Satipatthana is in the Four Noble Truths, right? Satipatthana.
Yes. Satipatthana is the eighth noble truth, right mindfulness. Yes. That is why when right mindfulness is defined in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Buddha says the four foundations of mindfulness.
I'm thinking of questions to ask.
Okay, later, if you want to ask questions, you can send email to me. I don't answer email much. I left the email with U Osada and Ujoda Langara.
In Buddhism, is white lies okay? Are white lies okay?
White lies, I would not say okay, but it is not so bad. Now, I told you about running the full course, right? White lie does not run the full course of action, so it may not give very bad results. You break the precept only when your lie causes some injury to others. So you tell a lie to another person, and then it may cause some injury to his life, to his property, something like that. Only when the injury has occurred to him that the telling lie runs the full course of action. So I think white lie is almost okay. I'm not encouraging you to do this, but sometimes you have a good intention when you say a good white lie. Say you do not want to make other person feel angry or feel sorry, or you want to save anger for another person, and so I think it's okay.
Is dissecting an animal? Does dissecting an animal create bad karma?
I think yes.
But in science class, they make you dissect animals.
Yeah, because you are causing injury to that, causing suffering to that animal.
Animal's already dead, and then bring in a dead animal.
Or dead animal? Oh, if it is dead, it's okay. I thought you are bisecting a live animal.
Christians' Bible stories, they say that God created the world and everything. But in Buddhism, how did it all begin?
Buddhism teaches that the beginning of beings cannot be known. So we do not know when beings first appeared, but for this particular world, there is a beginning, right? So it is taught in Buddhism that the world comes into being for many years, and then after many years, it will be destroyed. And then after many years, another world will form by itself, not being created by any being, but it will be formed by itself. And then the beings who are reborn in the Brahma world will die there and then reborn on the human earth, and then begin the population of the world. So in that case, there is the beginning of the world, but the very beginning that is not accepted in Buddhism, because if you accept the law of cause and effect, there can be no beginning at all. Somebody must have a cause. Something must have a cause, right? So if you find this one, then there must be a cause for this one, and there must be a cause of this and this and this, and so you go on to infinity. You will not come to a point where you can say this is the very first, because you have accepted that everything must depend on a cause, and so there is a cause. So long as you accept the law of cause and effect, you cannot find a beginning. Logically, we may say, oh, there must be a beginning, but in actuality, we cannot find a beginning.
I asked my religion teacher, and she was Christian, and asked her, that she said the beginning of the world, that God made it. And I asked her, where did God come from? And she says, God was always there.
There are many questions they cannot answer regarding the creation. There are many questions, many problems with that.
Did Buddhist people already know that the world was round, like for a long time?
No. Maybe Buddhist people also believed that the world was a flat. But it is not taught in the books that whether it is flat or round. But it is taught that it is like a circle, right? It's a wheel, and there are mountains all around, and the sea, and the continents, like that.
Nobody said this, but I thought myself, because in Christianity, they're waiting for the second coming of Christ.
Yes.
And in Judaism, they think the Messiah will come. And in like the Muslim religion, they believe another prophet will come. And I don't know about Hinduism, but in Buddhism, they believe when the next Buddha comes, like after he comes and everything, the world will finish. Or something like that. Like this world. I think they said if one more Buddha comes and after that, the world will finish.
Yes, there's one more Buddha to come.
Yes. I think by that time, I think when the Buddha comes, all religion will like get to like become sane, because they all believe just one more person is gonna come.
I don't know what will happen at that time, right? And it will be many years from now when the future Buddha will come to the world. And it is said that people will live very long at that time, and people will be good at that time. But still, there may be some who don't believe in Buddhism.
I think when the Buddha comes, to the Christian people, he will be like the second coming of Jesus, and to Muslim people, he will look like he will be like the prophet to them, and to like the Jewish people, he will be like their Messiah. And so all religion will be the same, and everybody will believe in him, and the world will be happy ever after.
It's difficult to say, right? What the conditions will be like when the Buddha comes. But hopefully people will be better in their practices when the Buddha comes.
And people say that the next Buddha will be sitting in a chair to meditate. Is that true? That he will sit on the chair to meditate.
Sit on the chair?
Yeah, to meditate.
I don't think so. Huh?
Because we went to this Tibetan place,
Uh-huh.
and had this picture of this future Buddha who was sitting on a chair.
I think it will be as usual, sitting cross-legged.
Well, I have one more question from yesterday about hell and stuff. When you get to hell, do you know what you did? Like, do you remember the life you came from?
Some too, because there is a story of four sons of four rich men who acted badly, and then they fell to hell, and once in a while they come up to the surface and then they shouted, and they knew what they did in the past.
Do animals go to hell as well?
Yes.
And when animals go to hell, do they stay in their animal form, or do they become in a human form, or do people in hell have no form?
Like humans. Yeah, the hell beings are like human beings, but they may also appear in animal form. Okay. It's time for